Namaste. I'm gonna make a quick video. Came to mind. I definitely didn't plan on making. Let me turn my lights on. Excuse me for how scruffy I look. Yeah. So I'm gonna make a quick video because this came to mind today. Ooh, I look scruffy. Look at the edges. But this came to mind today. Okay. And I was gonna put it off, but something told me to get up and do it now. Um, Topic: marriage does not guarantee the healthy raising of children and commitment. Okay. I'm going to touch on this. God, give me the thoughts. So, in the current neighborhood I live in, I'm not sure how many single mothers there are, and I'm not sure how many marital couples there are, but in my immediate area, I know of at least another single mother. Um, as myself, I'm single in the sense that I singly raise my kids when I have them, but they have a dad who has them part time as well, right? But we don't live together, right? We're divorced, okay? In my neighborhood, there has been like hell unleashed for, I want to say, the last 3 to 4 years, maybe 2 to 3 years. Just unruly kids, kids that don't respect boundaries, kids that don't respect property. Um, and I don't know anybody who hasn't seen my other videos. I have them on private now. I'll probably, release them again if I feel led to. But um, yeah, the ones next to me just trash everywhere. Besides, what I've dealt with like for almost a year and a half with these people. Um, but God is with me, so I've endured. Um, One thing I've noticed though is the most unruly, disrespectful kids in the neighborhood actually have fathers in the house or males, right? I don't know if these couples are married or not. I'm not sure, but they have live-in males in the house. Um, these kids are completely out of control. I mean, they stand in the street. They feel like they can talk disrespectfully or approach adults in a disrespectful manner. Um, they're just terrors. They're terrors. They're terrors. Okay. Each and every one of the children that I speak of have a father in the home. All right. I can't understand it. I don't understand how it's possible to have two parents in the home and have that much dysfunction. Okay. I can, but it's ridiculous because as of me and the other single mother that I'm aware of, and the others some of the others I have spotted, um, we seem to have a very good control of our children. As for me and the one other friend that I connect with, we teach our kids to respect boundaries, to respect adults, to respect themselves. Okay, and there is no father present in our homes, right? They do have fathers, but there's no father present in our homes. Okay, so and observing that and being married, I understand that marriage does not guarantee commitment and it does not guarantee the healthy raising of your children. One of the reasons that led to my divorce was I became aware that um, the toxicity or the unresolved things between me and my ex husband were going to impact our children. And so I had to make a choice. Um, I can only work on myself. Um, you know, I am not owner of another human being. And regardless of us supposing to be in marital union, um, if that person was not adjusting or correcting in a way that would be as healthy as possible for us as a couple and our children, then I made the decision that it's best to part ways and to try to salvage as much as I could on my side and let him do what he does on his side. And what you do will be attested for at some point. I have 3 adult kids, I have 2 younger kids. My 3 adult kids can attest to what I am as a mother and their love for me as a mother because of my engagement as a mother. Okay. And they would attest to whatever they could about their father. But there is a clear distinction between me and him, especially since we are no longer together in a marital union, or not a union, a marital legal contract. Okay. um so I see a lot of people who love to punish and condemn single mothers, which is absolute ridiculousness, because 9 times out of 10, or we'll say eight, a woman is singly raising her children for reasons outside of herself, or whatever the reason was. The fact that she's still raising her children without the support of the father, whether that father is involved or not. I'm not seeing how the single mother is condemned. And a lot of these times it was circumstances that she did not desire, whether she left on her own or whether that man left her. And the fact that she has had to hold herself up emotionally, and to keep her sanity, as well as to nurture, protect, provide, and take care of her children. Um, I think that should be commended, right? Um, a lot of times, a mother is a single mother because the father has abandoned the family, abandoned the children for whatever reasons. So, for that to be flipped around and put on the mother is ridiculous. The people who express this narrative are extremely toxic and extremely short sighted. Now, granted, I know that there's two sides to every coin. There are some mothers out there who decide they just want to be single, regardless of if they're single mothers, regardless of if the father is wanting to be engaged with that child. Um, I'm not personally aware of them, but I'm sure it happens, right? So, but for those who run around, you know, pounding their chest and putting that out there to condemn women who are left to raise their children, or if they've chosen to walk away from something that wasn't healthy for them and their children and are doing it by themselves, you should be ashamed of yourself. You really should. But I see people like that don't have shame, because if they did, they wouldn't project the stuff out into the atmosphere that they do, to help continue to cultivate things that are not conducive um, to black people as a whole, or any person, honestly. um, so I just want to put that out there. Marriage is the best option, but it goes deeper than marriage. What people are so fixated on the legal governmental contract, commitment and morality is something that happens with the individual. So if you are a committed person, that is what you're going to be as a father, as a mother, as whatever you are. Okay. And if you're not, you can be doing the legal aspect of it. You can have the template set up, but everything is going to be trash. A house that's built on a rotten foundation is going to fall. Okay. Um, so yeah, you know, yes, ideally the mother and father in the home. Yes, ideally the mother and father in union. But if that does not guarantee, just because sometimes that can cause even more damage to your children than to have one stable grounded parent, or have two stable grounded parents who are not together, right? Than to have two dysfunctional parents that are together, or one dysfunctional parent who's making the other one dysfunctional because they're of their dysfunction. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, once again, there is no black and white to this, but I see how it's projected for Black women, Black single mothers. There's no grace ever given, when I feel like we should have the most grace of any other woman. But I will say that I am disgusted to know that in my neighborhood that there are whole ass entire men who are supposed to be leaders. A man has a presence that children automatically respect because it's built into their design. And the fact that these males are laid up in their house, and letting their children wreak havoc is sickening to me. And even more so that there's women laid up with them. And a lot of times these kids will be out in the neighborhood doing God knows what, and you never see their parents. They never come out the house, you know? So basically, people who are trying to live their life or trying to raise their kids properly are being are being impacted by somebody else who's not doing the duty that they have as a parent to raise their child morally, and just to teach them the basic laws of human existence, right? um so yeah, for all of those out there who think that you have a leg up, you have a leg up if you're married to somebody of integrity, not just because you're married. Having a husband means nothing unless it's done in love, and having a wife means nothing unless it's done in love, okay? And to touch on that too, I will have to say this. In my lifetime, I've encountered a lot of men, a lot of women. Some I grew up with, some maybe just, in my age group. And I can see their how they've been damaged. I can see their dysfunction. I recognize my dysfunction from my childhood. But one thing I try to do with my dysfunction, even though some days, some months, some years, I feel like I've overcome it all, and then some months, days, and years, I feel like I'm right back at square one. But one thing I can say about my dysfunction is usually towards me, and me only, right? It may impact any other people. If anything, I think the most it would impact is other, like if I was trying to get in another intimate relationship, because I have had so much trauma with romantic relationships. It is difficult for me to try to see what's real and what's not. And I don't want to take that chance and be wrong again, right? I don't want to hurt myself, and I don't want to hurt anyone else. But outside of that, as it pertains to raising my children, it pertains to how I conduct myself with other people, as it pertains to how I try to live on this earth, um, that's pretty well rounded, right? There are some things that, and when they come up, I do try to correct them, or whatever I need to do to correct something that I'm doing incorrectly. I will always work on, hopefully until I master it. But for the meanwhile, I do unto others as I want done unto me. I try to see others, and understand the broad picture. I set boundaries for myself because everybody should have boundaries for themselves, right? Um, and I raise my kids in a way that they know that they're loved, that they know that they have purpose because they were born on this earth. And I raise my children to do unto others as they want done to them, right? So the reason I'm saying this is because I am fully aware. I've seen people my age group, I've seen people under my age group, and I've seen the mothers who were left to raise the kids utterly destroy their kids. Um, I mean, I could run down a list of stuff that I've seen with my own two eyes. And yes, it's unfair if you're left to raise your children by yourself, but you have a lot to offer that child, right? And if you are repetitiously putting good things into that child day by day, yes, that child may eventually have some issues. Yes, that child may have something going on. That's going to happen. That's just the process of life. And there's no perfect situation. Let's say you even are in a good marriage. It's not going to be perfect all the time. This is the thing that we have to learn about life. Life wants to always, the world wants to tell us there's a perfect way to do stuff. There is no such thing as perfection, I don't think, as long as you're here on this earth, because things outside of you are going to impact how you do things, okay? Um, but in saying that, um, what are some of you mothers doing? Because I've seen some mothers actually go out of their way to harm and damage their children. I've seen some mothers literally abuse their children. I've seen mothers point their kids in toxic directions. I've seen a lot of stuff. Okay. So, yes, it is unfair that you were left to raise your child by yourself, um, if that was the case. Um, but because you are the sole provider, I need to understand what is happening, that you look at your child and you can't put the basic needs of your child first, which is love, protection, wisdom, you know what I'm saying, provision. And like I said, doing it consistently on a daily basis, even into their adulthood, whatever support that they need from you as a mother, as an adult. I've seen people use their kids for government assistant, SSI. I've seen people who maybe put their kids on ADHD medicine and they didn't need to. They just did it because it would probably guarantee them getting SSI, or um, just like, or to calm their child down, because they're not willing to invest and take the time to figure out what's happening with their child and work through that and heal them. I've it's women out there who are literally putting their children on the path of destruction. You've heard this saying before, some women are raising the very man that would be a nightmare to be in a relationship. And some women are raising their daughters in in such a horrible way, right? Just because you don't have that partner in the house doesn't give you an excuse to drop the ball. You have to give it your all to make sure your child has the best possible mental health and the best possible opportunity to survive the craziness that is the world that we are sent into. And we're sent into it for a reason. But instead of you guys creating soldiers to even the odds, you're basically adding to the mess that needs to be cleaned up. And there's no excuse for that. I see some of you have your babies dancing around on these media sites, just so much, and it's just listening to music with your children. You shouldn't, like, anyone. I know this has happened somewhere in this world. Somebody has played WAP in with their children around. You know, I seen a horrible video of some woman twerking her whole vagina and butt in the air, and the baby was in the background saying she stunk, and she just wouldn't stop doing it. I mean, come on, like, this has been said a few times before, but I feel like, I'm supposed to be saying this too. Like I said, granted, I'm not perfect, but I understand I'm not supposed to be. What I'm supposed to be is working on the best version of myself day by day. Whatever lessons I get in that day, learn, checkpoint, uh, figure out what I need to do to heal, you know, um, and move forward, right? But it's some things that are just so sloppy and disgusting that are done. It doesn't even make sense. You understand what I'm saying? So That's what that's what this video is going to be about. I was sitting there and it came to mind and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do it tomorrow, because I said I wasn't sure if I was going to do any new videos, but something was like, no, go do it now. So I put down what I was doing. So maybe it just wanted the thoughts to be in my head. I just I see like the videos and stuff for the black community and stuff, and sometimes, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little frustrated. Because it just seems like so much elementary shit. It's like we can't make progress because we have to go back and teach people the building blocks, the basic building blocks of human existence, which is just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? As for me, I'm not in the mindset to teach people what I feel like they should know. Um, like I said, we can blame white supremacy for a lot of stuff, and we can look at it and say, yeah, white supremacy had its impact on us in that aspect. But there's a lot of stuff that we can no longer blame white supremacy for. Okay. Um, it was crazy because when I got my hair done, I was talking to the two young ladies, and they said a lot of stuff. Um, and I was trying to just, be receptive and be open, but a lot of it was just so off the mark. It was so off the mark of what they said. Maybe I'll touch on that in another video. And hopefully I shared some stuff to um kind of expand their minds. And I am open to learning as well, but as I get older, when you're hearing some bullshit, or maybe hearing something from someone who hasn't had their spiritual understanding opened up. Granted, one of the young ladies was a lot younger than me, and I don't know how old the other young lady was. But one thing, I brought that up. I said, you can't blame white supremacy for the morality and some of the stuff that is happening in the black community. We can no longer blame molestation on white supremacy. We can no longer blame abuse on white supremacy. We can no longer blame some of the stuff that is taking place on a lot of the stuff that is taking place on white supremacy. Um, and I was just we were having a debate about church and spirituality and stuff, and religion and spirituality, and then they try to bring up like, oh, if you go see a doctor and a doctor is smoking a cigarette, you don't just stop going, you just go see a different doctor. But I'm like, here's the problem. A lot of these churches aren't teaching, not I wouldn't even say teaching, they're not living um what is beneficial to people, because we have to be honest, black people. If we have one things, we have churches. Now I don't know how it is in 2022, but me in my lifetime, we have churches. We have so many churches, so many different kinds. If the church and that was as beneficial to our communities as it claims that it's supposed to be, then why are we still in the states that we're in? And what's crazy is some of the worst dysfunction is happening to people in the church, because they're doing basically what I started this video out. They have the template, they have the image, but they don't have the spirit and truth. They don't have it. So it's basically an empty well, right? And so that was one thing. When I came into the when I went into the church, something happened to me spiritually, and I just went to the church based on thinking that the church was spiritual. The church promotes that whatever church's mission statements are, they present themselves as servants of God that are here to help people. And the young woman had the nerve to say, well, you people get their feelings hurt because they go to church and they expect something from the church, and they shit and something they had made up in their mind. No, they go to church to receive what the church is offering, what the church projects itself to offer and do. And then they go in there and they get damaged and confused even more, right? And then that's what the chick was saying is church hurt. But what bothered me is it was basically like victimizing the victim, right? Just like an abusive, somebody who's been in an abusive relationship, right? Maybe after that, they don't want to get into another relationship, right? And people, for somebody to turn and say, well, you shouldn't let that one, situation, or the 2, 3, 4, 5 situations cause you to think like this. No, it's not that person's fault that they were victimized or abused. And if they choose to put up a guard to protect themselves, then so be it. Because if something is safe, then that will be proven, right? And it will be up to that person to decide if they want to engage with the institution or whatever it is, okay? But they were victimizing the victims. They were saying people who've been damaged in church, it's their fault because they went to church thinking one thing, thinking that they should receive something from church. And I was like, yeah, they went to church to get help and to get healing because that's what the church said they were going to do. But then they got in there and they got hurt worse than they would have by people out in the world. Because here's the thing with church, you don't go there expecting that, right? And then I brought up pastors molesting people and all kinds of crazy stuff happening. And I was like, look, y'all, one of them was like, the Bible never said you can't, the Bible never said nothing about molesting children in it. And I was like, but do you need the Bible to tell you that? Do you need the Bible to tell you that? So that's what was disturbing to me. And then the one kind of said like, oh, I've had church hurt, but I went on mine and I just go and I see it as a community. And I'm like, see, that's the problem. That's what church is. It's just a community. It's not a house of healing, right? And then once again, the church is the body of Yeshua. The church are people. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I go back to where the temples, then where we gather, where the true children of God, are people call them star seeds or light workers, where they gather, there is more power, right? But what I'm starting to see is we're really kind of located and scattered out, right? And we're doing our work and we're working together, but we're not necessarily connecting in the physical form. I'm starting to see that's kind of a lot of what's happening now, because I think whenever you gather people together, you're going to attract things that are going to be, how can I say it? You're going to get the wolves sneaking in sheep's clothing, or the sheep sneaking in wolves' clothing, right? Because we like to think of wolves as bad, but there's things that we can learn from wolves, right? But look, yeah, some of the stuff they were saying was just obscene, and it kind of frustrated me because I'm like, dag, I'm sure in their mind they feel very progressive, and but hopefully, them being younger, as they get older, they learn. But this is what I'm saying: there's some things that we should not be learning now. There's some things that we should not be learning now. So in saying that, I'm saying use your common sense. Use your common sense. I think that's what a lot of people aren't doing. They're not using their common sense. They're not using their feelings. They're not tapping into their intuition, right? I mean, for somebody to say, like, the Bible never said anything about not molesting a child or molesting a child. I'm like, did that really come out your mouth? You know what I'm saying? So can you see why people are turning away from Bible and religion and stuff? You know what I'm saying? If you guys literally are looking to it in that aspect to say, oh, because it was nothing said about it in the Bible. What? Right? And then you profess to follow, that was another thing. The one brought up like something about Christmas in church. And I'm like, and that's another reason why people why are these churches still teaching people to celebrate Christmas? Right? They didn't have an answer for that because there's nothing about Christmas in the Bible, but y'all don't mind celebrating Christmas. But yeah, you really brought up the Bible doesn't mention anything about a child being molested, as if that somehow makes somebody who does it exempt from doing anything wrong. That was very, very disturbing. So yeah, that was quite a conversation. And I'm not saying it to shade the young ladies. at all, because I am trying to learn to be open, and I am trying to live what I believe. Like, if you come in the midst of, you can agree to disagree, right? You can hold firm to what you know is true. You can listen to other people, right? And then that's engagement. Maybe somebody learns something, maybe somebody doesn't. you know and like I said, I'm more than willing to learn from other. Please, I want to learn. But yeah, something came out on me tonight to make this video. Once again, I don't care about being cute here. There's a time and place for me to be cute, and when that time and place comes, it's gonna be on and popping. But like, yeah, this is me, no filters. This is me sharing my soul and my experience and my thought with you, and I just prefer to get that from other people in the most honest form. So, I do unto others as I want done unto me. So, whoever sees this video, I hope all is well with you. I hope you are blessed. Forward movement, yeah, just stay open to the process and the journey, because it's a beautiful one. It's always stuff happening, it's always stuff changing. There's always new experiences. But one thing that I am experiencing is I don't have to leave an experience in a bad way. I'm allowed to learn and grow. Um, yeah, what the universe has for me is for me. Um, and I'm just open to all the universe has for me. And I just want to share my thoughts and feelings and hopefully be a blessing to this universe, or the universe, and this earth. So thank you for listening. Once again, blessings to you. Namaste and I say.